friends, this is Christopher davis-shannon, and welcome to our final week on the study of Roy Smeck's The Magic Ukulele Waltz. Now, if you recall from last week, we ended on a big old G augmented chord, which was telling us pretty strongly that we are probably going to C major. If you think back, C major is what the A section is in, and that's indeed what we're going to do, is reiterate the main theme of this. But we're going to play a variation on this, as opposed to playing it identical as we did in the beginning. If you remember the beginning, the ascending lick sounded like this. We're going to replace the first little bit with just, well, a C major scale. Nothing too crazy. We're going to play this in a very specific way. You're going to play your open C. We're going to hammer on the D on the 2nd fret, and then the E on the 4th fret. We're going to repeat an E here, but we're going to play our open E string this time. So it'll be E, hammer on the F with the first finger on the 1st fret, and then the G on the 3rd fret. So our first few notes. And then we're going to complete the scale. We're going to play A, B, C, but we're going to hammer this on, and actually we're going to change just a little bit here. So we're going to play A, hammer on the B with the 1st finger, and this is actually very important here. And then we're going to slide it into the C, like this. So let's listen to the first few notes of this. The reason we're doing this is because we're now going to walk up to the 3rd, up to the E. If you recall, this is our melody note on top. We need to play this note. So to hammer this on, we need the 1st finger in position on the C so that we can actually make this reach. So we'll hammer on 5th fret, then the 7th fret. Then we come down actually the same exact lick that we played in the initial A section. B, A, G, E, D, C, D, E, and strum through a C major chord. So let's listen to these first 4 bars of this new A section. Now, if we call back to the original A, what we did is repeat exactly what we did in the first 4 bars. We're going to do the same here. We're going to repeat that new theme. Come down, but we're going to resolve this to a G7th chord. So we'll pluck the F, E, D, E, F, strum through a G7. You'll note that this is identical to what we did in the first little section of this tune. So let's try these first 8 bars of the new A section together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, if you recall from our initial A section, the next melodic motif is over top of a G7th chord. And we start out exactly the same, the C sharp, hammer on a D. That's the same as we played in the original A section. But after we resolve to this B, if you recall, we used to go, right? But we're not going to do that this time. We're actually going to play all individual notes. So when we land on the B, and we have our G7th chord all the way down, come back and hit G string, C string, E string, A string, and then much as within the strumming version, open A, and then we go to a D minor 7th, and the same exact picking pattern. G string, C string, E string, A string, open A string, and then we repeat the G7th lick. So let's listen to these first 4 bars of this little section. Repeat that lick, same thing, but now we're going to go up, instead of to a D minor 7, we're going to go to our G augmented chord and do the same picking pattern. A string, all the way back down, G, C, E, A, open A, and then we play our E, open, and strum a C. So let's listen to this whole little 8-bar passage and then we'll try it together. Let's try that much together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Much like in the original A section, we're now going to repeat exactly what we did in the first 4 measures with one tiny change. So we're going to do our C major lick to C, but only one strum on the C this time, because if you recall, we go up to a C7th here, and we're going to set it up with a pickup note this time. Instead of going right to our 6th and 7th frets on the E and A string respectively, we're going to play on beat 3, the 6th fret and the 5th fret, just to set it up. So I want to play the measure before getting us into the C7th lick. So just an extra little lick on the end. And then the C7th lick is identical to what we did in the initial A section. We go to F, rest, A7th, D minor. So let's listen to just these next 8 bars of the tune. Let's try that much of it together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The next 4 measures of this should look mighty familiar to you. This is in fact identical to what we did in the initial A section. We're going to play D minor 7th, C diminished 7th, E minor 7th, A 7th, and then our G7th lick, but we're going to repeat this a couple more times than we did in the original A section, which coincidentally, Roy actually plays it this way in the initial A section as well in the later recording, but not in the early recording. He doesn't tag this, and I prefer to mix it up and have a slight variation at the end. So we're going to play our G7th lick. Same thing we've always done, but we're now going to just arpeggiate the chords. So that your B, and then just come right up your G7th chord. G string, C string, E string, A string. But now we're going to repeat the G7th lick again, so bounce right back on down to the C sharp. So it'll sound like this. Repeat. One more time. And the last time, we play just the G7th lick. We don't resolve it to a full G7th chord. We're going to play the B for 1 beat, and then play our open G for 1 beat, and then up to a G13th chord, open 5, 7, 7, which is really just a G7th chord, with an added E in the treble voice, giving us this really beautiful open sound that is also leading us back to a C major chord. And then that's exactly what we're going to do. Play a C major chord, stop the sound, rest for 2 beats, and then straight across the 12th fret with harmonics. Just lay your finger across the strings without fully pressing down, so you can get this nice open sound. So let's listen to just this little tag at the end with all the G7th licks. So now let's try the entire last A section together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I hope that you've really enjoyed these series of lessons. If you haven't already, please consider joining my Patreon community where you can access the full tabs for this, as well as a play-along version of the entire song instead of all bits and pieces. And also an additional video that breaks down the form and a harmonic analysis of this song so that we can see what's really structurally going on here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon.